So I've had some excitement building up to see the Snyder Cut of Justice League for about 2.5 years, and since it's coming out awfully soon, I figured why not tide myself over until then with some other Justice League material. And no, I don't mean the shit show of a shit show we got in the theatrical cut in 2017. So where else to turn but the outstanding selection amongst the DC animated universe? Seriously, before I go any further, I'd like to just point out that if you are a fan of DC and haven't given the animated features a fair chance, then you're doing yourself a disservice. For the life of me, I cannot understand why the people making the live action films can't just watch some of these and make direct interpretations out of them. It's almost like someone from Marvel is secretly running DC's animation department because over the past 6 to 7 years, they have managed to create exactly what their non-animated counterpart have miserably failed to: a cohesive and interconnected universe. And the final send-off to the most recent DC animated universe is the epic Justice League Dark Apokolips War. Holy hell, does this film take advantage of its R rating. And not only the language side of it, I mean sure there's cursing here and there, but its true reason for the rating is due to the violent and visceral gore. There's a good amount of it. You don't just see someone get shot followed by a small streak of blood flowing from the wound, you see heroes literally get ripped in half, torn to shreds, burnt to a crisp, and plenty of other excruciating endings. This is not your typical superhero fluff that you might expect from any movie, especially an animated one, but that's just one more reason I would heavily recommend almost all of DC's animated films. They take their shit seriously and treat it with respect. Now I'm just gonna quickly throw in how much I would greatly appreciate it if you would click that subscribe button and notifications bell so you can always keep up with the content on this channel. Okay, there we go, that's out of the way, now let's get into it. The first surprise of the film is finding out who the main character is, because I can almost guarantee you it's not someone you would expect. If your guess was John Constantine, then you've either seen the movie already or you're John Constantine. Which if that's the case, then that's awesome. Thanks for watching the video, John. The whole ordeal kicks off with the League getting together for a meeting to discuss how there's no more time for fucking around. Darkseid has sent some stealth drones and that only means one thing: war. Without question, the most intriguing aspect of this meeting is Superman's attitude. Ever since the release of Justice League War in 2014, the writers have made it evidently noticeable that this version of Superman is not exactly the picture-perfect poster boy with high heroic standards. He's still the good old Man of Steel and has a compassionate moral compass, but he also isn't afraid to put his foot down and speak some sense into the League that this isn't the time to kick someone's ass a little bit, throw them in a jail cell and call it a day. This calls for some substantial, concrete results that deal with looking past the mirage of what's typically expected of a hero and doing what's necessary. Long story short, he's saying they gotta go kill Darkseid. The plan seems foolproof, but you didn't think it'd be that easy, did ya? Since the majority of Cyborg was created by a mother box, technology from Apokolips, Darkseid gets a free viewing of the intricate strategy. In other words, the entire upcoming disaster could have been avoided if they just kept Cyborg in another room while they were going over their plan. The League flies off to Apokolips, only to be immediately overrun by parademons on steroids, which we later find out to be paradooms, creatures that are half parademons, half doomsday. And it all cuts to 2 years later. Earth is a complete wasteland now, infested by the same monsters that overrun the League. It's all very similar to the vibes given off in the nightmare sequence in the live-action Justice League movie. A powerless, kryptonite-infected Superman, alongside a withered and mentally tormented by her father Raven, go to recruit Constantine, who's resistant to help at first, given the fact that Superman essentially led the bulk of the League to their deaths 2 years ago, but submits to assisting when he finds out they just need a locator spell to find Damian Wayne, aka Robin, aka Batman's son, aka the new head of the League of Assassins. Damian joins the party, mostly because Raven's there. You find out later that he has feelings for her, on top of wanting to break his father out of Darkseid's control if possible. Because you see, Darkseid didn't kill every member of the League when they went to Apokolips. Some of them he saved as abominable servants. Cyborg is his personal supercomputer. Wonder Woman, Mira, Starfire, Hawkman, and Martian Manhunter are his personal half-flesh, half-robot bodyguards. And Batman is his personal assistant. They still need to add more members to their roster though, so they find Lois Lane, who straight up acts like a female Han Solo in this movie, and the Suicide Squad, now led by Harley Quinn out of all people. Also, King Shark is apparently now DC's version of Groot, as all it can say is, "King Shark is a shark," which, I can't lie, did provide me with a chuckle nearly every time. They all round up for meeting on how to take down Darkseid number 2. The concept for this go-round is to pop over to Apokolips while Darkseid is away annihilating Oa, the homeworld of the Guardians. Not those Guardians. There we go. And the Green Lantern Corps so they can take out Darkseid's technology that is feeding off of and draining the Earth's core. But in order to get there, they need a boom tube, and the only one on Earth is at LexCorp. And of course, somehow Lex Luthor survived the debacle from a couple years ago and is now Batman's bitch, providing him with updates on the status of anything on the planet, I guess. But Lex reveals that he's been playing both sides all along, as he's been Lois Lane's secret intel and joins the team of Remnants. Superman tags along to Apokolips, but obviously needs some assistance since he's not, well, super anymore, so Lex hooks him up with a kryptonite suit, which is definitely a humorous dose of irony. So the group gets to Apokolips and are quickly met by the villainous, half-robot versions of their former teammates, and it all seems like it's going south until Constantine cleverly uses Wonder Woman's rope against her, tying her up and breaking her free of Darkseid's mental hold, after which she steps in to valiantly take on the other robot heroes so the rest of the group continue onward. Upon entering Darkseid's facility, they find a power source of sorts being ran by the Flash. No, literally, like a good old hamster running nowhere fast on a wheel, the Flash is endlessly running on a treadmill to fuel the generator. Thankfully, they face no issue in rescuing him, but he desperately begs for them to help him stop as he's been going for quite possibly the full 2 years since they first went there. So Constantine uses some magic to help him rest, and in doing so, gets a wave of images presented to him that inform him of the history of the Flashpoint Paradox. If you haven't seen that animated movie, go watch it right now. Go ahead, you can pause this review, watch the Flashpoint Paradox, and then come on back and finish the rest. It's totally worth it. But in case that's not on your agenda, the quickest of recaps is this. Flashpoint is a story of the Flash running back in time to save his mom, but by doing so, he inadvertently created a ripple in the universe that heavily altered a whole bunch of details and characters. Cyborg was a Superman of the country, Superman was a skinny lab rat the government tested on, Aquaman and Wonder Woman were at war, Bruce died as a child so his father Thomas becomes Batman, and the list goes on. But that'll come back up later. For the time being, the team moves forward, and next they find Cyborg, integrated into the wall, kinda looking like those animal heads you can hang up that sing songs, and maybe it's just me, but I thought the way they made him talk sounded an awful lot like Soundwave from Transformers, which was awesome. I love Soundwave. But then we get an oh shit moment as evil assistant Batman shows up with Darkseid, who rips Superman out of his kryptonite suit like it was made of paper, and Batman and his Mobius chair take on everyone else. But as Batman gains the upper hand and is on the cusp of killing his son, he has a moment of clarity and snaps himself out of Darkseid's brainwash, proving how mentally resilient the Dark Knight truly is. Yeah, it may have taken a horrific reality to be placed in front of him in order to do it, but he didn't need any magic to break free, because he's Batman. But his tenacity is in vain. Darkseid sends out some Omega beams to punish Batman for thinking for himself and throwing a kryptonite sword in his eye, and Damian jumps in front to take on the full force of the blast, getting nearly roasted to death. I gotta say, I'm honestly shocked he managed to survive that. Damian doesn't have any superpowers on his side to help defend him in any way. He's just a heavily skilled human being like his father. So initially enduring a direct hit from an Omega beam is quite admirable. But then he dies, and this causes Raven to lose it. And by it, I mean her mental hold on her father, Trigon. Up until now, she's been keeping him locked away in her head, which throughout the course of the movie we see how hard of a time she has dealing with that. Thankfully, Raven made a contingency plan earlier with Constantine so that if Trigon was ever about to be released, he would help her take care of it. And he does. Momentarily. They release Trigon into the world, but without a physical form, which you think would cause an issue for Trigon. But nah, he just swoops right on in to possess Superman to create Super Trigon, and instantly snaps Constantine's neck. Darkseid and Super Trigon go head to head, which gives once again good Batman the opportunity to pick up Lois's call, so she can say the right words to reach Superman and help him regain control of his body. And he does. Not gonna lie, it's no doubt me nitpicking here, but I found it bizarre that when Superman exhales Trigon out of him, he no longer has the kryptonite infection and is back in a brand spanking new red and blue suit. What? Darkseid traps Trigon in a bubble or something, and then Superman beats the shit out of Darkseid. Meanwhile, Constantine finds himself in heaven with Zatanna, but she's quickly like, nah, you're going back to life, and he comes back to life. At the same time, Raven sheds a few tears onto Robin's face while expressing her love for him, and he comes back to life too. The entirety of the heroes culminate together to get the hell out of there, but they need a distraction for Darkseid so Superman can leave with them. All eyes land on Constantine to formulate a plan, and he and Raven release Trigon from his imprisoning bubble so he can go fight Darkseid. 'Cause, you know, why wouldn't he drop his main grudge with his daughter and the promise of killing the one she loves just so he can fight a dude he just met? Makes sense to me. Nah, I get it, Darkseid is claiming to be a new god, and Trigon is like, you better shut your face. But what really doesn't make sense here is how Trigon suddenly has his own physical form. Wasn't that just a major issue? Isn't that why he had to possess Superman's body? Ah, whatever. The heroes safely escape, except Cyborg. He's part of the wall now, remember? But he delivers one final heroic act as he opens up the enormous boom tube that sucks the whole planet of Apokolips into nowhere. Back on Earth, the broken and worn down remnants of the League sit together attempting to cope with the reality of their situation, and Batman delivers the news that they're too late. Darkseid's machinery drained enough of the Earth's core to shift its rotation, which means the planet will inevitably freeze or burn up. Superman gives his run-of-the-mill, we can fix this speech, but Constantine tells Flash he's got to wipe the slate clean with another flashpoint. And he does. We get a final glimpse of the heroes as a wave of light washes over them, and the film ends. So, there you have it. That's the breakdown of Justice League Dark, Apokolips War. I don't have much of anything bad to say about this film. Just about any issue I did have, I already mentioned. All things considered, it was a phenomenal way to end the current animated universe. The animation is beautiful, the choreography of the fight sequences was visually thrilling, and the story wasn't afraid to present a heavy hand of mature themes. It's almost funny how some of the most compelling storylines are the ones where our heroes are going through some of the worst shit. There's just something so moving about seeing these powerful, motivational, and inspiring characters deal with loss, grief, suicidal thoughts, the acceptance of loved ones and themselves dying. It's all a lot to handle, but it feels deserved. This is the 16th installment of the animated movie universe. We've been with this iteration of these characters for years now and have a genuine reason to feel emotionally impacted knowing this is their final bow. They do a great job of what Avengers Infinity War and Endgame did, which was balance an enormous roster and let just about everyone have their moment to shine. Not every character in this movie has a lot of dialogue, or any at all, but they don't need to. Some serve their purpose well enough just being there to help where they can before being killed off in an epically brutal fashion. The whole thing flows with a pace that feels like they truly didn't waste a moment, and the hour and a half that it is moves by awfully quick as it keeps you on the edge of your seat watching a good portion of your favorite vigilantes perish. The voice acting is stellar across the board, with standout performances by Matt Ryan as John Constantine, who clearly has the character mastered in both live action and animation, and Jason O'Mara has been Batman enough times at this point that he doesn't even sound like he's trying anymore. But I definitely mean that in a good way. He's no Kevin Conroy, but let's face it, no one ever will be. And Jason has done a damn good job of making the character his own over the years. Rosario Dawson, Jerry O'Connell, Taissa Farmiga, and Stuart Allen have all grown and developed well with Wonder Woman, Superman, Raven, and Robin respectively, and I think Ray Chase as Etrigan deserves a shout out here as well. I understand there may be some people out there that feel it's a cheap cop-out to just use the Flashpoint event as a way to reset everything again, but to be fair, it's not like they just made that up out of nowhere. That's been a thing in the lore of these characters for a long time now, and it's undoubtedly the most logical direction/excuse they have to start over again. It certainly seems the creative team at hand here caught wind of Zack Snyder's plans for his Justice League trilogy. They released the blueprints, if you will, for it, that explained how we would have seen Batman's nightmare sequence come to fruition. Superman would have become Darkseid's evil servant, and almost every one of the major players were going to get taken out until Flash was able to run back in time and warns Batman. Not the same exact story, but a decent number of similarities, and this may be the closest we'll ever get to seeing it. But hopefully the upcoming Flash movie with Ezra Miller will set things right and take on the same attitude as John Constantine at the end of Apokolips War.
It won't be perfect. It'll be a long sight better than what we got now.
Like the video if you enjoyed this content, throw your own thoughts and opinions on the movie in the comments, and have a fantastic rest of the day.